Cheers, everybody. Time for a little water. How sweet it is. Water isn't sweet. Water is pretty bland, but it quenches the thirst. I have a dry throat, a little cough. My girlfriend is sick. She's been sick for a few days. I'm hoping I don't get it. I don't feel like I got it. You know, I sometimes have allergies. There's a lot of dust in here still. Okay. And I have a little cough, you know. So she got tested. She went to the doctor. She does not have the flu, and she does not have COVID. Just seems like a regular cold. So she's getting over that. She's been home for a few days, and I've been staying in here a lot. She's been out there a lot. So I might have a little cough during this, but it's not because of that. Because, quite frankly, like I said, with the allergies that I have, they told me years ago I was allergic to dust mites, and there's dust. So I'll do a little little cough. I've had that before I even started making videos. Just so you know, when I made the videos, I remember thinking, in fact, back in 2012, when I made my first video, I remember thinking, how am I going to make videos if I have this cough in the middle of the video? I also discovered back in the summertime, when I lost 38 pounds, before I put it back, the cough got less. So some of it's, you're not eating the best things. You're not taking the best care of yourself. It's all related. Why do I tell you this? Because I saw this comment from Gary here where he says, even though I have all my shots, I've managed to get the flu really bad. I feel horrible. Don't know how much I'll participate today, but I'll be here listening. Thank you, Gary. You're really great with your support all the time. I hope you get better. I don't get flu shots. Some people believe in them, some don't. I remember my girlfriend got a flu shot once. She got the flu right away. This was many years before I even met her. And she said, I'll never do it again. And I've heard other people get it, but I don't know. I'm just saying. I even made a rant video about that. When people say, I'm just saying. And I said in that rant video that I'm guilty of saying, I'm just saying too. So there you go. And we see that Johnny, hello. Johnny's here, and James Farley's here. And hello to Mike Waljasper. And hello to Robbie. Good to see you all. And Gloria, hello in Ohio. I went back to Ohio and put my pretty countryside. I could start singing that. But let's see. And we got Ramoga. Hello, Ramoga. Give Godzilla a chance. Not right away today. Okay, I'm congested real bad in the chest, coughing a lot when I lay down. My big concern is that in 5 days, I'm going to go to a theater to see McCartney, Man on the Run. I don't want to have gotten a cold by then, but I don't have one now. Yeah, Steve and Johnny says, I have that little cough at times. Could be just dust particles. Yeah, it is. It is. There's a lot of things, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of things. And when I did shed like almost 40 pounds 6 months ago, was it 6 months ago now, I think, I did get better with that anyway, dust or no dust. Okay. Hello, Derek. And hello, 4D man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good day out with your pals in the scavenger hunt video today. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had some fun there. And you never know what you're going to find. You never know. You never know. Okay, I received my flu shot and COVID shots also, and still I got sick. Not sure what I had, but had it for about 3 weeks. Coughing, headache, body ache, sneezing, awful. Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't pretend to understand these things. I'm not a doctor, So there you go. Okay, 6 more weeks till the big move. Over 2,000 physical media items and equipment to move. Yay! Yeah, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget when I moved into this place. I was in another apartment, a house. I was in a private house. I had the first videos I made were made there. I had the upstairs of a private house, and there was an elderly couple there, and I was wondering how long I'd be able to live there before they both passed away and stuff. Well, anyway, as it turned out, I managed to stay there 14 years. That was good. That was a good run. And then January 1st of 2015, I went down to pay the rent. The both parents had died, and the son was like watching over the house every now and then. And I went down to give the money to the son, and he said, "Joe, we're going to sell the house." I said, "It took 14 years, so we moved here, and we found this place quick here in 2 weeks, and turned out to be too small. But I've been making my videos here for the past this month. We moved in February of 2015, so it's just been 11 years this month. So eventually, you heard me. Eventually, we'll be out of here, but we don't know if it's going to be a couple of years or what. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that. But anyway, we're talking about moving. The point is, when they tell you they're going to sell the house, now you got to come up with a way. I remember talking to my girlfriend with my very optimistic attitude, and I looked around at the stuff we both had, and I said to her, "We'll never make it. Never make it." Turned out we did it. We moved in a couple of weeks. Well, no, I think by March we got the place February 1st, but we didn't have to move into March 1st, so we had a whole month. But we did it. We did it. Okay. Hi, George. What's going on with you? That's just something you say. I don't literally mean, hey, what's going on? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Just a greeting. Let's see. Wasn't there supposed to be a live stream with Danny yesterday? There was. I pulled the plug. It went really sour. It was a lousy live stream, so I pulled the plug. And I just talked with him today. I said, we're going to do another one next Wednesday, right? And he said, yeah. So we're going to do our next one Wednesday. We were doing them on Fridays. Friday mornings over at the retirement channel, which is now, I'm not using it anymore. So now they're Wednesdays. I'm moving them to Wednesdays here. And the reason that I'm moving the show with Danny to Wednesday mornings is because I don't want to do two shows. I don't want to do a show with Danny here on Friday and then me Saturday catch up with Mayo. I don't want to do that. I want to have Wednesday and then Thursday and Friday off, and then Saturday. You don't want to do too much of this. If you do this every day, it's no good. Oh, it's very easy. I don't know how to explain it to you. It's very easy indeed. But the thing is, I would say look on YouTube and say, how do I change my YouTube name? Type it in. They'll give you a video like that. The video will be like a minute long, probably. I'm going to tell you where to go, what to do. Type it in and press enter and save, and that's it. I think that's what you mean. You don't know how to do it, right? I think Danny will be nominated for next year's Grammys. Joseph Mantleo, how are you, sir? Always good to see your name. Always good to see everybody's name. By the way, how are you all? Today's Valentine's Day. And you're all my Valentine in addition to my girlfriend, but you're all my Valentines, the people who watch my channel. Where would I be without all of you? Where would I be? Doing pretty good. Hope to keep it that way. Cheers. Okay. So, what do we have to talk about? Anybody? Questions? Thoughts on what's going on lately with me, my channel? What's going on with you? Doesn't just have to be me. Matthew Smith. Listening to the Kinks since the last of the 3 times I saw them live was Valentine's Day 85. Very simple to change your YouTube name. Go to your channel, tap your icon, and tap the settings button, and that's it. Right. Patty Lane, you're in my ears and in my eyeballs. What's going on? I haven't said that in a while. What can I say? And then nothing. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now what is this? I would up pre-ordering the soundtrack. Can you be a little more clear on that? Will both Paul and Ringo be around to see all 4 of the Sam Mendes films? Who knows? Who knows? Ringo is going to be 46. No, 46. Wow. I wish. He's going to be 86. Ringo's going to be 86 this year. Paul's going to be 84. So that's why, I thought of the number 4 for 84. Yeah. Oh, the Man on the Run soundtrack. You wound up pre-ordering the Man on the Run soundtrack. Okay. I actually found a current band worth listening, thanks to Rock Boy 680. Okay. What is that? Are you going to watch My Bloody Valentine today? I don't think so. My girlfriend is in the living room. She's sick. She's watching TV, and I'm letting her watch a Hallmark channel. When she's not watching the Hallmark channel, she's watching Harry Potter movies for the millionth time. But that's what she likes to watch. Or he watches the Hallmark channel romance, Harry Potter for the millionth time, or she watches the History Channel and learns all this stuff that I don't care about. That's her favorite thing. Then she loves Frasier, the TV show, which I like Frasier, so we're good on that. But anyway, I joked around with her today. She said something like, there's a good movie for Valentine's Day or something she told me about. I forget what it was. And I said, I joked around with her. I said, you want to watch My Bloody Valentine today instead? She said, no, thanks. And I said, well, there you are. So anyway, The Last Dinner Party is the name of the movie. A girl band from England. Okay. Anybody interested? Check it out. When was the first time you listened to John Lennon Plastic Ono Band? Well, I tell that story a lot. I'm sorry to bore those who know it, but you got to know, the first time I listened to John Lennon Plastic Ono Band, it was a perfect listen. I was 15 years old. The album had already been out 7 years. I was just discovering all the solo albums that I hadn't heard yet. And I was 15, and I was in my grandmother's house, and they had a front porch, and it was nighttime. And I sat on, they had a bed in there, and I sat on the edge, and we had windows in the porch. And this was in Queens, New York. Oh, and the windows were there. You could see the trees in the night, and, the moonlight and everything. Right? Perfect mood. Dark, very dark. Back then I could see better than I can now, so I didn't have glasses then. But anyway, and I listened to John Lennon Plastic Ono Band for the first time with headphones. I followed every single word on that album with a lyrics sheet, with the inner sleeve that came with it, and I was blown away listening to Mother and Hold On John and I Found Out and Isolation and Remember the 5th of November and Working Class Hero and God. And even My Mummy's Dead at the end was a shocker. And what an experience. That is, out of all the albums I ever listened to for the first time, that was the most life-altering experience that I ever had. So there you go. 15 years old, 1977-ish, I think. I listened to The Fifth Dimension yesterday. Their sound takes me right back to the late 60s and early 70s. What a great, happy collection of songs. And one of the singers passed away. I forget who, I'm sorry. I'm a little disappointed the Man on the Run soundtrack doesn't have more unreleased music. Well, it's basically a soundtrack album to the movie. It follows the film. Joe, you had a Ringo Love album in your hot little hands. Choose Love album. I looked it up and I was going to buy it, but they're on none. In your vid, you picked it up from the record store. How did you get it? Well, my record store got a couple of copies, and I asked them. I called up, said, "Did you get it in?" They said, "Yeah," and they held me a copy. This wasn't my regular record store that I go to because they don't often stock new albums, new releases. so much. And I lucked out, and it turned out it was the last copy. The one that they saved for me was the last copy that they had. It should be available on Friday Music website. No, okay. I watched Revolver 62. Is that Evolver? I don't know. It was great. Wonder if there will be more like that released. If Yoko Ono was doing a live concert, would you go to it? No, I wouldn't. I mean, look, I defend Yoko all the time, and I do like a lot of her music when she's singing and not screaming all the time. But well, Yoko now is ill. I mean, her birthday is going to be this month in 4 days, I think, right? 4 days. Yoko is going to be 93 years old, so she's not doing well. But even when she was touring and stuff and playing some gigs, I didn't go. Even though I defend Yoko. I always have, and I've defended Yoko long before I ever had a YouTube channel, and long before I, knew Sean a little bit through emails and stuff. It's nothing to do with that. But and people say, well, why are you even saying that? Why are you even bringing that up? Because I know how people think. I've been around long enough with this channel and stuff. I always defended Yoko because John loved her, and that's good enough for me. Oh, Dr. Rick, I called you Derek before. There you go. See? Okay, Dr. Rick. I called you Derek. I got Plastic Ono Band around Christmas 76 when I was 13 and in 7th grade. Yeah, it's close to the same age as me. Mark Taylor. Hello, Mark. Okay, I bought and listened to John's Plastic Ono Band on release day. What a profound album. It still is today. There were only 2 other albums, really, that I remember listening to when they were first released and being blown away. Now, one of them was one that a lot of people would scratch their heads, but I was a big Joan Jett fan. I bought the album I Love Rock and Roll, and I thought it was the greatest thing at the time. Now I find it a little juvenile, but at the time it's still great rock, But anyway, I couldn't wait for her to release the next album, so I had to wait like a year and a half. It seemed like a long time, and then the album simply called Album came out with the yellow cover of her jumping in the air. And I remember, again, lying on the bed with the headphones, 21 years old this time, not 15, listening to it and being blown away by it. I loved it. The last one, the third one that I remember happening was Bob Dylan. I was with a friend of mine. He had the new album in 1983. I was 21 again, called Infidels. And, he had like some religious albums before, some born again albums. And I love Slow Train Coming, but I never listened to Saved. And I wasn't wild about Shot of Love, the 3 Christian albums, but I think I got to give them more of a chance. There's a couple of songs on Shot of Love I liked. But anyway, Infidels came out, and my friend and I listened to it in the basement on his parents' long stereo console, the old stereo consoles. And we loved the album. We listened to side 1. Our breath was taken away. We loved it. We said, let's take a break and discuss it and take a little break. Maybe we had a bite to eat or something. Now let's flip it over and here's side 2. Great album, Infidels. Those are my 3 religious experiences. I say religious experiences after I just got done talking about Dylan's religious albums. It's not what I mean. Religious experiences, heart, the way it fills your heart, So, all right, let's see now. You got to be in a certain mood, I guess, to listen. Absolutely, I don't play Plastic Ono Band a lot because, back then when I played, I was 15 years old. I was in high school. I was a typical teenager. I had my ups and my downs. I was going through growing pains. I was, I had problems, and I could relate a lot to that. Plus, I was a child of divorce, so I kind of related to that and stuff like that. So, are you looking forward to picking up anything Beatles related on Record Store Day? I have no interest in the George Harrison Zoetrope LPs that are coming out, so I won't be getting those. The John Lennon, what is it? Talking about Plastic Ono Band, the song "Love" they're doing on those meditation mixes. I'm not really interested in them, but if I happen to get sent a copy, a review copy or a listening copy from the Lennon estate, then I'll have it. But I'm not going to pick it up, honestly. But the only one I'm interested in is actually Joan Jett again. It's a live album, I think. Joan Jett. I forget what it is. Is it the Ritz? Maybe it's not. It's not the Ritz. It's not the Ritz. I forget where it is. Joan Jett live in 1981. I'm gonna, it's gonna be good. I have that on a cassette tape somewhere, but will I ever play it much? I don't know. If this was 1982 or three, I'd be blasting that all the time. But now, but still, I think I'm gonna get the Joan Jett album. That's the only one I'm interested in. Okay, there you go. There you go. You got it, Rick. Dr. Rick. Knowing that John Lennon loved Yoko, that is a great reason to defend her. Well, it is, The thing is, I always said, if you love John, if you like John, and he was happy, and he was, regardless of what other people wanted, whatever they wanted for their own selfish fanboy and fangirl reasons, John had Yoko, and that's what he wanted. And if you like John or cared about John, I'm glad he's happy. And I understood the need, so I'm okay with it. When John and Yoko were on Mike Douglas, they showed the Mrs. Lennon video. Yes, that's a good song. That's a good song, Mrs. Lennon. Midsummer, New York, I like. I've seen a photo of you and Yoko. Will you talk about the meeting? I haven't heard the story. I was with a friend, and we just said, why don't we try to go to the Dakota? You want to go to the Dakota? Try to meet Yoko? It was April. The weather, it was a windy day. It was a very windy day. If you look at the picture of me and Yoko, my hair, I had longer hair and it's flying around. Her hair's, both our hairs like sticking up and flying around in the picture. It's windy but sunny. And he drove his car. We drove his car right there and parked it. And she came out. She was very sweet. It wasn't just the two of us. There were about 10 people there, maybe. I don't know, 7 to 10 people around. She just said hi very graciously, signed, took pictures, and that was it. And then I got a photo with her, and I got an autograph. And then the very next day, for whatever reason, we said, why don't we go back again? And we went back the next day and got another autograph. And so the crazy thing about it is, back at the time, I wasn't really into records anymore. I didn't even bring like an album with me, which was ridiculous looking back on it. But over here, so at the tip of my finger, there's an index card here. I have the back of the Double Fantasy album there, signed by Jack Douglas. I got Jack Douglas to sign the back of the Double Fantasy album, and there's a little index card, and Yoko signed the index card, and I stuck the index card in the shrink wrap. You believe it? That's what I got signed. That was the first day. The second day, I didn't have anything. We were at his house, and I didn't have anything. So he said, well, why don't you tear a page out of one of my books? So I tore a page out of one of his books, and she signed the page from a book. Look, who's going to complain? I got her autograph not once, but twice. I met her twice. She was nice both times. And I got photos with her. The photo is the main thing, in my opinion. I'd rather have a photo if I have a choice rather than having an autograph if I had a choice. So I can't complain. I'm just thinking it's ridiculous that I didn't bring like a Double Fantasy album or something like that, or Milk and Honey. That's what I would do now. If it happened recently or later years when I'm doing this channel, I would have got the Double Fantasy album signed for sure. And maybe Yoko Ono, Plastic Ono Band on the back with her picture on it, or maybe Milk and Honey. I would have done something like that, or maybe one of the solo albums, maybe the Fly album. Fly, I've never seen that movie, believe it or not. Mikey got some cool Beatles magazines. I wanted that Beatles on Broadway. Well, that's a common magazine. I mean, maybe not where you are. I don't know. But it's pretty common. Infidels, Bob Dylan, like I was saying, a fantastic album. I'll drink to that. My throat is very dry. Very dry. If someone doesn't get emotional listening to God on the Plastic Ono Band album, you just have no heart. Be careful how you say that. I know somebody that doesn't like people saying they don't have a heart. If you don't, well, I know a few people, if not one, that said that if you don't have any heart, they don't like hearing that. But it's all subjective. It's all subjective. But I know what you mean. Remember seeing first show of Purple Rain opening day, and then going straight from the theater to a record store after to buy the album. Those are the special kind of memories, aren't they? Right? Those are special memories, things you remember the first time, where you were when you heard something or what you were doing. I won't be getting the Harrison Trashy Trope discs. Talk about a cash grab. Well, you know how I feel about the term cash grab, okay? I don't, I hate that, but it's okay. Give me your honest opinion. I'm just going to tell you mine right back. Of course, nobody forces anybody. They don't grab your cash out of your hand. You have to give it to them willingly. And I'm not giving it to them. I don't want them, and I'm not doubting that it's a cash grab, because business is a cash grab since the beginning of time. I always say, since the beginning of man, people were trying to make money, or whatever it was. The cavemen, whether we're trying to get extra rocks or or vegetables or clubs, whatever. They were always trying to be. It's business. Business is to make money. Money's is made by putting product out. That's what it is. I'll even say, Gary, by the way, I'm not just attacking you. Okay. I don't mean to do that. I'm talking about anybody out there who says cash grab, and there are a lot of you, and you can do it all you want. And I'll tell you the same. By that, Love Me Do, the Beatles' first single, was a cash grab. The first Beatles album, Please Please Me, was a cash grab. They're like, hey, the Beatles are hot. George Martin, let's put an album out and cash in while we can. They put out, in a day, they recorded every song they had in their live act. They put Please Please Me, the album, out. It's a cash grab. Capitalizing on their success with Love Me Do, Please Please Me, and all this stuff. So, same thing with A Hard Day's Night, right? The Beatles were very popular. Let's put them in a movie. They had dollar signs in their eyes. Let's put Beatle wigs out. This whole cash grab thing, it's business and marketing, and it's been that way since the beginning of time. But what I hate about the cash grab term, and again, this is not Gary, you just happen to bring it up. I'm talking about everybody. People got a new toy, a new word, a new phrase, a new word, a couple of words. It's in style now. Let's call everything a cash grab. Ooh, is that the new phrase? Cash grab. We weren't calling things cash grab in 1984. This is a 21st century phrase. Michael Nolan, hello, sir. The Plastic Ono Band album is my favorite John Lennon solo album of all time. I think it holds up extremely well to this very day. I think it does also, but the problem for me is, if it is a problem, I very seldom, thank God, I'm in the depressing doldrums to want to hear it. I'd rather hear Imagine, the album, because Imagine has also got some angst on it and some negative things. But like John said, it's really Plastic Ono Band with chocolate on it. It's a little more palatable. So that's why I choose that. But I love Plastic Ono Band. It's a masterpiece. And Plastic Ono Band has probably got John's arguably greatest singing he ever did. Back in the 90s, when people talk to me how great grunge and Nirvana are, I would say, listen to John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band. Good for you. Good for you. I rushed home from school every day to watch John and Yoko on Mike Douglas. Yeah, that was 10 years. Well, I was 9. I was 9 going on 10. And in that time, John and Yoko, I didn't even know who John and Yoko were, really. I didn't get into John Lennon until around 75. I got into John Lennon just when he retired. When John retired, then I became that's when I just happened to discover him. And I spent my whole fandom of John while he was alive, waiting for him to record again. Svengoolie tonight. Oh, I forget what's on. Oh, Dracula, right? The Lugosi Dracula. Yeah, I need to see that again. Like I need a hole in the head. I mean, I love Lugosi and I love Dracula, but I have it on Blu-ray and I watched it Halloween time, so I'm not going to see it. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're gonna watch the 1931. No, actually, you know what's funny? Every Saturday night, I've been watching a Godzilla movie. I've been watching a Godzilla movie all the early '60s, the ones in the '60s, and believe it or not, the one that's due tonight is Invasion of Astro Monster, which has the American title Godzilla versus Monster Zero, also known as Godzilla versus the Astro Monster. Anyway, the clip that you like, this clip I'm going to play here, Ramoga, that's the movie that's got this on. It's the one that's due, the next in the series for me to watch. It's this clip, the one that you love so much. So let's get it on here. Ramoga he can't get through a show without seeing it. Yep, that may be tonight's feature, but since it's Valentine's Day, I don't know if I'm going to put it on. I don't really know, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's see. I met Yoko in 1994, April 94. What's the first Beatles or solo album you bought new when it came out? Mine was the self-titled George Harrison album. Well, mine was also, in a way, it's hard to say exactly because here's the thing. In 1975, when I was starting to get into the solo stuff more, I did buy Shaved Fish by John and Blast from Your Past by Ringo. So if you want to consider those were the first ones, but they weren't proper albums, right? They were hits compilations. If you want to talk about regular studio albums, in 1978, I bought the Ringo Starr Bad Boy album. was when it was the Ringo TV show was on there and he performed those songs. So I bought that. That's probably my first one, the Ringo Bad Boy album, which I like. I do like that album. I think it's very underrated. In '78, then also in 1978, I didn't buy it. You know, I guess I kind of did. The old story is I went to the Jersey Shore. I went to Seaside Heights in New Jersey, and they had a boardwalk with all kinds of games on it. And I played the spinning wheel. Put down your quarter, pick a number. The wheel goes round and round. I won, and I got to pick something. I picked it was on the wall. I picked Wings London Town, the new album. So I don't know if that counts. I'm getting to the end. But I remember distinctly going into the store in February of '79, buying the self-titled George Harrison album. Yeah, I bought that in February of '79. I remember it was at Sam Goody, and the clerk had a razor blade, and the clerk cut the cellophane off the side and flipped it back, and with a pen wrote something on it. They used to do that. And I remember that pissed me off. How dare you slice and write on my record, you know? But that was that. And then '79 also, I bought Back to the Egg, the Wings album. So those are a few answers. I don't know which one officially qualifies. Long answers I have for these things. What do you think about 1978 Wings' greatest LP having Uncle Albert Another Day on it? Well, they're not Wings songs, but I really think they, Uncle Albert should be on there. It's a big hit. This is the first #1 song. And Paul always thinks that having Linda was like Wings. So I'm okay with that. And also back in the day, in 1978, I was happy that we got Another Day on it because Another Day, it was like a single that you didn't have really. So you had Wings' Greatest and you could get Another Day on it. So I was okay with that. One thing I was just disappointed in, I always thought Wings' Greatest should have had Listen to What the Man Said on it. That's the only thing. It was great to be able to get Another Day because it was a stray single. It was great to be able to get High, High, High. It was a stray single, and Mull of Kintyre was on there straight. It was great to get those singles on there, but somehow they needed to put on Listen to What the Man Said. Okay, you know where I'm coming from, Gary. Nothing against you. Just Yep. If I'd been in New York City early 1990s instead of 2013, I'd be looking to meet who lived Midtown, Kurt Wolf. Woody and I met Woody Allen. That's a great story. If you're talking about Woody Allen, is that who you're talking about? I met Woody Allen, one of the greatest stories ever. I'll tell that one quick too, because 4D Man's here. Also in 1994 in October, I took a train into New York City. It was, I think it was a Saturday. I think a beautiful morning. It was like 9 a.m. in the morning. It seemed as big as the city is, nobody was up. It was a beautiful, beautiful sunny morning. I took a taxi cab to go. I knew where the guy lived. You want to call this stalking? All right. Back then, it wasn't so much. But I got out of the taxi cab and figured I got to walk several city blocks. It was such a gorgeous day. I figured I'll just walk. I don't need to. I don't need to drive. Got out of the taxi, started walking. No sooner do I walk down this Upper East Side beautiful street, I see two figures coming down. It seemed like nobody else in New York City was awake yet. It was just me and these two figures coming the opposite direction towards me. Turned out to be, as they got closer, I could see it was Woody Allen and Sun Yi. So, I'm like, oh, here they come. So I started getting ready what I was going to have signed. Again, like up here, an index card, freaking index card. And as we got closer, Woody could see that I wanted an autograph. So he kind of he pulled out of his pocket one of those floppy fisherman hats, and he put it on his head and proceeded to cross at the corner to get away. And I want, you don't get autographs if you don't at least try. So I went up to him, I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Allen." And he said, "Oh," and he played dumb like he didn't know. Oh, and I said, "May I have your autograph?" He said, "Oh, certainly." And he's very nice, very friendly, signed the autograph. And I remember that he was making a movie in the city at that time. And there were news reports that said that he was having difficulty shooting this movie. I don't know what movie it was. I'm guessing because of the time frame, it might have been, I forget the name of it now. I know the name of it, but boy, sometimes when you have your instant recall is not there. The one, Mighty Aphrodite. I think that's the one. So I just said to him, "Good luck with the movie." And he said, "Oh, thank you very much." Charming as could be, beautiful, and that's it. Turned around and went home. I didn't spend 10 minutes to 5 minutes. Great story. One of my favorite and most pleasant autograph experiences. Because some of them people could be nasty or something, but hello, James. Hello, happy Saturday. Well, my favorite three albums, hands down, are Plastic Ono Band, Imagine, and Walls and Bridges. So, Don't Let Me Down should have been on the Let It Be album. I agree 100%. It's wonderful that the Beatles fans are still represented here in the States. All new Elvis releases come from overseas, and frankly, I don't know why. Yeah, that's rough. Is it just me? But I thought Yoko was not bad looking back in the day, singing not so much. Well, I think it depends. I mean, if you see her in those times when she was, I think she was going the book Grapefruit. She was going to promote the book Grapefruit. She looked great. Yoko sometimes could look very nice, I think. Okay. First Beatles solo album I bought was McCartney when it was released. That's ideal. Any Beatles related people other than Paul or Ringo you still hope to meet? Jim Keltner points to mind. I would love to meet Jim Keltner, but he doesn't come around much to places from what I can understand. That's the first one that pops into my mind. I already met Pete. I would have said Pete Best, except that I did get to meet him a few years ago. And the Beatles' wives. I mean, I got to meet Yoko. I got to meet Linda. I got to meet Patty. It'd be nice to meet Barbara. Actually, Barbara Bach. I was, her and Ringo were at a hotel, and she went out and walked right by us. She wouldn't even bother to give us the time of day, but it'd be nice. Barbara, excuse me. Olivia, Danny. I met Sean already. Julian. Imagine buying a new album today and the clerk taking off the shrink for you. No, I wouldn't put up with that. I returned it. I said, "No, give me another one." I remember buying Wings at the Speed of Sound when it came out. Still great. It's a good memories, right? Flaming Pie was the first new ex-Beatle album I bought for myself. It came out a few months before I was 16. Off the Ground came out when I was 11, but that was bought for me. You young guys, man. I was 31 when Off the Ground came out. I think. I can do the math. Wait a minute. Yeah. 30 going on 31. Very dry throat. I'm doing a lot of talking today, but that's what this is about. How often do you listen to each individual Beatles album? I don't know. I don't listen to Beatles albums that often. I know they're burned into my brain, They're burned into my brain, and they're on the radio all the time. I don't. I mean, I'd say I listen to the albums I tend to go for. I don't know why. Are the White Album, Abbey Road, A Hard Day's Night, and With the Beatles, and Magical Mystery Tour. Those are the main ones I play. I don't know. 7-8 months, something like that. I don't play them that often. If I want to hear some Beatles related stuff, I'm more likely these days to play a solo Beatles album. 90% of the time. Okay. Woody is one of the greatest directors of the 20th century. 1994, you caught Woody in between Bullets Over Broadway and Mighty Aphrodite. Right. And I don't know which movie he was, because it was in the news that he was having difficulty in Manhattan of filming a movie. And that's why I said to him, good luck with the movie. And he was like, "Oh, thank you very much." Very, very pleasant. If you met Paul McCartney, what item would you ask him to sign? Well, he's another one where I did get his autograph in 1993, but again, I brought a tour book with me. There was a centerfold. There's a centerfold picture of Paul. It's from the video of the song "This One." You got Linda. Look like they're up in the clouds in the sky. Linda's sitting on a couch one side. She signed that. Then the next day, I got Paul to sign his side. But anyway, even that wasn't ideal. And I'm not ungrateful. I'll take it. But I'm saying, again, I wasn't really into the vinyl album thing back then. But no, if I can only do one, something like McCartney 2, something like McCartney 2, because it has a really good picture of his face, and it has the light background, so the black marker would show up nice. Probably. In fact, I could go on with these stories forever. There was another time when I got Paul's autograph. It was 1993. I tried to go again in 1995, and that was not. I'm not going to go into it again. I've told these stories. That wasn't. Let's say I struck out. Let's put it that way. I struck out at 95, but that time I brought just two things. I brought the Ram album, and I brought McCartney 2, because I thought the covers would be good for the signature. And again, I should have brought a Beatles album, right? I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Hello, Elliot. I know it's you. I know it's Elliot. Let's see. Oh, my mom bought me McCartney at Corvettes. I remember Corvettes. I still get a charge, Gary, out of the stickers when you get an album at the used record store and it says Corvettes on it. These things that we remember from when we were young, First solo album I owned, if you count it for me, was Band on the Run. I know it's Wings. Yeah, of course that counts. Sure, absolutely. I missed out on meeting Yoko, but she attended an exhibition of my Beatles-related artwork in New York City back in 2012, tweeted about it, and signed an LP I made as part of the exhibit. I love her art. There you go. Have you ever, at any point, hung up the White Album poster? I think maybe I did in the 70s, maybe. I think the one item I would ask Paul to sign would be a check. There you go. You can tell by my photos at Christmas in the 70s, I was a Beatles guy, 3 or 4 albums per Christmas. Yeah. 1975 was really the year I became really a big fan. I was 13. 75, around there. And then from 75, well, the rest of the 70s, say 75 to 79, I started getting more familiar with solo stuff, and even the Beatles stuff, because in 1975 I only listened up to Rubber Soul. I didn't listen. I had to listen to Revolver, and I had to listen to the White Album and Pepper and all that. And so anyway, this thing's bouncing around. I'm sorry about this. That desk is, see that? Boom. It's moving. Why? If you went to a Paul concert, well, I've been to 11 of them. I know 11 Paul concerts is nothing. I know Joan went to like 106 or 5 or 6 or something. And there's some people out there that gone to like 20, 30. But anyway, what songs would you want them to open and close the set list with? I don't really, I don't think about those things. And sometimes it's hard to think about them here during a live stream and come up with the right answer. I always liked when he opened with Magical Mystery Tour. And I always liked when he opened with Hello Goodbye. I think Magical Mystery Tour and Hello Goodbye and Venus and Mars back in 76 and Rock Show, those were the best openers, I think. The CEO of the company I work for has a personal relationship with Paul. Please then, Sal's Place, before it's too late, help me meet Paul. Don't forget, when I said that I met Paul, I got his autograph, but he didn't sign it for us. There's a bunch of us there. He was in the hotel, and his assistant came out and took all our paraphernalia and brought them in. Paul signed them from inside, and then his assistant returned them to us. So he didn't actually physically sign it, but it's his signature. You could tell. Do you listen to US or UK Revolver? Did you listen to the UK or US? Well, back in the day, at first I only really knew of the US albums. So, of course, I played the US Revolver. Then later on, I preferred the UK. Obviously, it's got more songs on it. Do you think Yoko actually liked the Beatles? Yes, she married John, was there for the last 2-3 years, but throughout whole interviews, even with John sitting there, she doesn't seem to know a lot. I think it's my gut, is eventually she came to appreciate the Beatles stuff. Yeah, I think so. So, not at first, probably. Okay. My brother was 5 years older than me, so I was hooked on Beatles early through him. Well, as I always tell the story, I first started to become aware of the Beatles when I was 3 years old in 1965. My mother will back that up. I was Beatle crazy because the Beatles TV show was on, and I was like, 4 years old and 5 years old, and I loved the cartoon show, and the Beatles music was on there, and she bought me some records, and some of my relatives, my aunts and uncles, they bought me some Beatle records, and I loved the Beatles, and I loved them, yeah, and all that stuff. And I was like, 4, 5, 6 years old, and by the time we got to like 1968 or 69, I had lost any knowledge of them or anything, and I didn't get back into them till 74, 75. That's my story. I hung up the White Album poster, the Imagine poster, Yoko's Fly poster. I definitely hung up Lennon's Imagine poster. There's no doubt about that. I mean, these days I don't hang album posters up that came in the albums unless I have doubles or something like that. Yeah, I don't want to get into the story again. I tell this story yes, he did. Yes, Paul McCartney. I've told this story a million times, Pirate Gamer. Yeah. A million times. A bunch of us went to meet Paul. It was February of 1993 at his hotel. It was freezing cold like you wouldn't believe. And we waited there all day, and so Paul would come in and out, going to lunch, going jogging, going to Saturday Night Live to rehearse. He was there to do Saturday Night Live. And he'd come back and forth. He'd say hello. He was always very nice to people. Hello, everybody. Hello, good morning, good afternoon. But he just wouldn't stop and sign anything. And then finally, one time when he was coming out of the hotel and going into the limousine, the first thing that popped in my head to try to appeal to him was, I said, Paul, please, I came all the way from Canada. And he looked around and he says, did you? I came all the way from England. And he didn't sign either. He went and zipped. I thought it was funny. He gave me a little Beatle wit. And then later on, he did sign for everybody later that afternoon. So it worked out. But Beatles on Ed Sullivan lit my fire and the whole neighborhood. I can only imagine. Give the stream a thumbs up, people. That would be nice. I can't tell if we got any likes. I can't tell. I don't see the likes here. I always appreciate the likes. It helps with the algorithm. It helps things get recommended. If you want to give me a thumbs down, do that too, because any kind of interaction, if you like somebody or hate them and you want to troll, either way, it helps, because any kind of interaction with the video, whatever you do, people are interested in it. Yeah, I don't like Bohemian Rhapsody. Sorry, I don't. You are showing 17 likes. 17 likes out of 68, and I had up to 70 something too. I had 75 at one point. People here at one point. But anyway, I don't expect everybody to give it a like. But if you want to help out, do it. I'd appreciate it. Remember my older brothers and cousin around the corner playing Beatles, but not really tuning in. But remember Painted Black, Light My Fire, Strawberry Fields, and Hey Jude new. I do remember Hey Jude as a new song. I remember Hey Jude as a new song. It's pretty much the only new Beatles song I remember. I'd be 6 years old then. And I had the record. We had the record at the family. And I also will tell a story one day about there was a girl in the family. She was an adopted, she was a foster child in my aunt's family. Anyway, long story short, she was older than the rest of us. We were like, 5, 6, 7 years old, and she was like 13 or 14, maybe 15, 16. I don't know. And she kind of like babysat us all once, and she had Magical Mystery Tour, and I remember her playing it. And I remember her like singing Penny Lane for us, and some of the other stuff. She was like singing along with it and getting us to try to sing. So I have some memories of Magical Mystery Tour when it was new, and the Hey Jude single. That's it. Still have the London Town poster tacked. That was a nice poster. I actually did put that one up. If you could resequence any UK Beatles album, which would you choose? That requires some thought. Resequence. I have to give that some more thought. I'm thinking of them all in my mind. None of them really hits me. Maybe Help. I don't know. Second side of Help. My dad came home from work with the Hey Jude Revolution single. First time I played Revolution, my grandmother screamed for me to lower it. That's great. I remember my grandfather when I had the All You Need Is Love single. He was like at the end, he was making fun of the end when they go, love is all you need, love is all you need, love is all you need, love is all you need. He goes, is that record stuck? It's funny, I was thinking about this the other day. I say how much new music sucks. Of course, our grandparents thought that the Beatles and Elvis and that stuff sucked. The difference is they were wrong. We're right today with the new music. The stuff that they play on commercial radio, I mean, at any rate. Hello, Neil. Hello to jolly old England. Any special programming coming up for my 64th birthday? I didn't think of that. I wonder if I should do anything for it. What am I going to say? I have to think about that. It's going to be coming up pretty fast now. So I really got to think about it, but I don't know. Two girls, Julie and Shelley, lived down the street, used to babysit me. Their grandmother lived across the street from me. Remember them in her front yard with a transistor radio singing Hey Jude. Yeah. Ever listened to the Denny Lane single Japanese Tears on Arista Records? Never heard it. I remember it. I think it was like 1980, right? I remember hearing that it was that he did it, but I never heard it. I forgot to mention the CEO is not a Beatles fan and cannot name many Beatles songs. Of course. Those are always the people that get lucky and happen to have a personal contact with a Beatle, right? He's not a Beatle fan, cannot name many Beatles songs, but likes Paul as he comes to his store frequently. Which is your favorite Led Zeppelin album? My favorite Led Zeppelin albums are Zeppelin 2, Zeppelin 4, and In Through the Outdoor. In Through the Outdoor, I remember very vividly when I was in my senior year in high school in 1979. So I have a kind of a soundtrack to that. All My Love was a big radio song. Let's see, Fool in the Rain was big on the radio. And I remember I took driver's ed. I learned to drive to All My Love. All My Love was on the radio when I was learning to drive. So I like it. I like In Through the Outdoor. I'm sorry, Matthew Smith. I think you're the one who used to call it ELO, not ELO, Little River Band. You thought it was like a Little River Band album. I think you once said that. But Zeppelin 2 and 4. I remember we sang Yellow Submarine at school when I was 5, and only me and one other kid knew it. Beatles songs were part of my boyhood through 1960s, even with no record player. 66, my classmates had a contest at the Barbers. Who could get the lowest forward fringe? And I came in second. That's not bad. The Beatles suck. Sinatra was the best. We'll still need and feed me when I'm 64. Yeah, maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. I'm probably going to do nothing. Any cringe albums you remember getting at Christmas when you were young? No. Anything that I might have gotten for a gift, I asked for, The McGear album from 74 is surprisingly good, but that might be because Paul wrote most of it and Wings play on it. Yeah, I like that album. The first time I heard it, it didn't knock me out, but then I listened to it again. I liked it. I don't do that for every album ever made, as you know. I have previously written many negative comments about Maxwell Silver Hammer. I'm trying to appreciate it more. Is it a comment on what was happening with Apple? As far as I know, it means nothing. A lot of Paul's songs are nothing. They're nice songs, but a lot of them are nothing. That's, as far as I know, it's just a fictional song about a serial murderer done as almost like a nursery rhyme. And even though it's a kind of silly song, I have to say it's brilliant in that regard. It's not one of my favorites, but I appreciate Maxwell Silverhammer because it's the most heinous crime of, taking lives, but it's done in a kind of la-di-da, everything's wonderful. Let's take a skip through the park feel. And to me, that's what makes it a good song, an interesting song. March 7th, I'm turning 64. Will you still need me and feed you? Well, the thing is, Elliot, you're gonna turn sorry. You're gonna turn 64 before I do. Yeah, that's me. My favorites are 1, 2, and 4 of Zeppelin. My mom played Abbey Road constantly. Good, the way it should be. Would you rather an hour quality time with Paul or a whole day with Ringo? I think you asked me this before, or somebody did. That's a tough one too, man. The thing is, I really like Ringo. I like Ringo and like to say hi to him someday. If he would be in a good mood, he wouldn't be a jerk, because he sometimes could tell you to go sod off. But I guess I got to go with Paul because it's Paul, Got to see Paul's house on a London rock and roll bus tour, but they ran out of time, so we didn't get to see Jimmy Page's place. That's the way it goes. Exactly. Mal Evans plays the hammer, the anvil. Yes, Maxwell Silver hammer. Yeah, it's not funny in a happy way, but in a strange, odd way. He always sang about what's it going to be like, grandchildren on my knee, and all this kind of stuff when you're 64. He was going through a vicious, nasty divorce when he turned 64. Name all the different color Apple Records labels. I'm probably wrong on this, but first of all, there's the green apple, there's a red apple. See, when I say red, this is what kills me. People say all things must pass and let it be a red apples. I say they're orange. They look like brown or orange, but all right. But we'll say red. So you got the green, you got the red, you got white because on I forget what it was, Plastic Ono Band. It's a white apple. Am I right? And there's also dark, like a deep red, on Ringo's Blast from Your Past album. I think there might have been yellow too. What do you think? Is that 5 of them? I don't know. Yeah, I vividly remember going on a double date. I went on a double date in 1982 to see The World According to Garp. It's a good movie, by the way. First time I saw Robin Williams in anything that I thought was good. And I remember distinctly when I'm 64 and the girl I was dating was laughing and giggling at the visuals because you show your baby like floating around and all this funny stuff. Which solo song would have benefited the most from having all 4 Beatles on it? I don't play that game. I'm not criticizing you, but I think that solo Beatles songs are great just the way they are. I can't imagine like My Sweet Lord with the 4 Beatles on it. I can't imagine it Don't Come Easy with the 4 Beatles on it. Can't imagine Maybe I'm Amazed with the 4 Beatles on it. Can't imagine Imagine with the 4 Beatles on it. You don't need the Beatles on everything for it to be good, all 4 of them. There might be an answer to that question, actually. There might be a good answer to that, but I can't just come up with it quick, you know? Okay. Hello there. The Beatles opened the doors for me as a young music listener. They got me a ton of music from Bach, Connie Francis, and even Frank Zappa. Forever grateful for them. Very good. And I like Connie Francis. I guess I like Bach somewhat. Frank Zappa, I couldn't care less about that guy. His noise. Mal Evans has surely got to be the best anvil player in the history of rock music. I think maybe he's the only one. I don't know. An interesting way we're getting 2 new Paul albums this year. The first is for the documentary Man on the Run. The second will be the new studio album. Yes. Have you ever spent an evening listening exclusively to Yoko Ono songs? No. Like I said, I like some of Yoko's music, and I think she was a very good songwriter. Now, people who don't think so haven't heard the stuff with an open mind. Okay. Her lyrics are poetic, and she's a good songwriter. I'm not going to say she's the greatest singer, a la Barbra Streisand, a la Karen Carpenter. Okay. But anyway. But I've never listened. Like I didn't just listen to like Yoko all night or anything. Oh, the Blue Apple. I forgot the Blue Apple. Yes, you're right. There was a Blue Apple. Absolutely, I forgot that one. Yeah, There's a half-eaten apple on there. No, I really don't. I watched Seinfeld, and I know there's a character, Joe Mayo, on it, but I don't really know the whole story of it. I've seen most Seinfeld episodes. That one, I haven't seen all the way. I've seen clips of it. I'm not going to sing any Beatles. Damn, one of these days, when I'm able to sing, I'm not going to sing here with the people upstairs. That's not going to happen. I still like to watch the James Corden show with McCartney. That was a very, very nice show. Wah Wah with the 4 Beatles on it would have been killer. I don't know about that. Maybe. But I like it the way it is. They have a lot of musicians playing on it already. I have not seen the movie Sinners. but I heard it's very good. By the way, speaking of movies, this is a good time to ask everybody here to please consider subscribing to this channel, Mr. Cinemayo, because I have another channel, 2 channels. I have this channel, and now I have Mr. Cinemayo. And as it says down there, you have movies, you have TV, nostalgia, pop culture, comic books, toys, just more of a fun kind of thing. That's over at Mr. Cinemayo. Also, on Monday, I do a live like this live show where we talk about movies, and I usually have my friends Tim Allen and Tom Hunyadi on there. Tom's already told me he's not able to make it, so it'll probably just be me and Tim Allen this time, and maybe 4D man. I don't know. I think he might have wanted to come up. So please subscribe, Mr. Cinemayo. Thank you. I'll leave that up a little bit if you want to help out. All right. Wasn't much of a Robin Williams fan outside of Garp. Maybe Good Morning Vietnam. Well, the thing is, I liked him more as a dramatic actor, really. I didn't see all Robin Williams movies, but I like him in 1 Hour Photo, if you ever saw that. And with Al Pacino in the movie Insomnia. I think he made a good like loony guy in the movies. Hi Elvin. Is that a new Beneath the Planet of the Apes poster behind you acquired? I've had this for a long time. I decided to put it up. I was inspired because of 4D Man. If he's still here, 4D Man. I saw he was on Rachel's channel, and he puts his posters up there. And I don't have a lot of room here, but I'm going to try to. Maybe I'll alternate the movie posters here now and then on the corner. All right. Thank you all. Let's see. I'm not done yet. I'm just saying thank you. Good Will Hunting, I heard, is good. There's a lot of good movies that Robin Williams did. Remember when Ed Sullivan told Jim Morrison not to use higher in the song? Couldn't get much higher. Jim still used it. Ed was pissed. They were never invited again. Well, good for them. I'm glad they sang it. Screw Ed. Son of Dracula soundtrack has a Dracula dog taking a bite out of the apple. I didn't know that. Do you like ELO? And if so, what's your favorite album? If you haven't listened to them, trying New World record with the headphones on. Well, put it this way. I like a lot of the big songs by ELO. If my friend Danny was here, he'd be busting my balls because I say that. Is Out of the Blue one of their records? That's supposed to be a great record. I like like a bunch of their songs, maybe 10 songs or something like that, But I haven't listened to a whole album, just the hits. In their case, not like that with everybody. I could tell you, I could rattle off a lot of Bob Dylan songs that most of the people out there would never heard of. So that's how I cover that one. Did Apple Computers have to settle a lawsuit for using the name? I don't know. Has a Beatles song been used well as part of a Hollywood film soundtrack? Yeah. And again, I can't just have instant recall. There's a lot of them. But I'll make a note of it, Joe. Well, I mean, like I said, no pressure. If you can't make it or don't want to make it, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start the show. I don't know what time it's going to be exactly, though, on Monday. It can be anywhere from 4 p.m. Eastern to like 5:30 p.m. Eastern in that time frame. So that's like 5 hours later to you, I think. And I'll put the link publicly if you want, if you're there. Yoko Season of Glass was an amazing follow-up to Double Fantasy. It was. Season of Glass had a lot of good stuff on it, I think. Yeah, it's about her grieving. Yeah, that's right. I've talked about this a million times, James, a million times. I'm not opening the door, I think you mean, to knocking Yoko, but what are your thoughts on her doing what she did? During the Chuck Berry performance, she ruined John's moment with his hero. First of all, I don't think she should have done it. I don't think it was in good taste to do it. I think it kind of got in the way. But John was so in love with the moment with Chuck Berry. I don't think John cared. I think John was in La La Land. He was fine with it. you know, he probably liked that she did it, probably. Okay, so I don't think John felt that it was ruined, even though I personally didn't think she should do it. After the first song was done, Memphis, Tennessee, where Yoko made a noise on it, the second song was Johnny Be Good, and you can see Yoko trying to sing again, and he shut her mic off, which is good. I'm glad they shut her mic off. That's what they should have done. And I defend Yoko, but when Chuck Berry and John Lennon are playing, don't be going and all this kind of stuff in the middle of it. Okay, so I agree with everybody. And yeah, Chuck Berry makes a funny face when he hears Yoko make a noise. His eyes bug out of his head, like, what the hell is that? It's a funny moment. Yeah. What else can I say about it? The other thing I always say about it is, let's hold on a minute, though. The version of Memphis, Tennessee, and that John and Chuck Berry sang together, even though it was historically a very important, breathtaking moment in rock, wasn't a good version. It was terrible. Okay, great to see John and Chuck on there, but it was awful. It was badly performed. So, what's the big deal? All around is what I'm trying to say. Did I cover it? Believe me, it won't be the last time, James. I'm sure. Some people just do it just because they want to yank your chain, and they know how you feel, but they want you to repeat it. You still thinking of moving into a house or not? Just wondering. Well, yeah, I don't want to go into all the detail now again, but that's the plan. It's just that I don't know when that's going to be put into action. The sooner the better. It could be a year from now. It could be 2-3 years from now. So I'm guessing in that time frame, in like within 3 years, hopefully more like 2. That's what I'm hoping. It's just a whole bunch of things that we have to get together with, and we're working on it with somebody else, this whole thing. So I'm hoping so. I can't answer this question. Somebody else might be better to be able. 1 hour photo and Insomnia are amazing. I agree. He really could act. Yeah. I really liked Robin Williams in those movies. It's funny. I didn't like Phil Collins too much in the 80s, but I like him now. Okay, I have more of an appreciation for him in more recent times. But at the time, I just thought his look was like ridiculous. But no, it's how good is the Beatles song "Flying"? Ha ha ha. Well, the song "Flying" is an instrumental that was used in the TV movie Magical Mystery Tour. It wasn't made as a great new Beatles song. It's just a background instrumental to accompany the scene in the movie, so it's okay. It's not great on it. It's one of the worst of the worst, one of the lesser Beatles songs, So there's a TV advert over here at the moment using Golden Slumbers. At one time, that would never happen. Well, I don't like when they use Beatles songs for anything really, but especially if it's something that's not very flattering, like diapers. All you need is love or whatever. There he is, the man, the legend, Beatley Tone. Tony, how are you? Always good to hear from you. Anytime, man. And and again, let me know if you want to pop up. Okay, ELO is not a bad group. Telephone Line was one of my favorites. Time to take this banner off. I think you get the idea here. John and Chuck look great in that appearance. Yes, Kimba, I agree with you. They look great. They just sounded bad. They look great. And yeah, Chuck Berry's face said it all. Absolutely. Yeah, saw the Chuck Berry moment, and Chuck's look on his face was epic. But you could see John was so lost in the fun. He didn't even care about Yoko. He probably welcomed it. It was a loud screech, but if it had not been, this clip may not get the attention it does because of it. It's not a good performance. Yoko or no, agreed. Sorry, I hadn't heard you mention it. I wasn't yanking anything. A million apologies. Please don't. I don't mean to make you feel like that, James. See, sometimes somebody will say something, and it's not you, James. It just reminds me of things I've heard many times from other people. Not you. You understand? I don't mean. I'm sorry about the confusion there. I agree with you, Joe. Such a poor version of Memphis, Tennessee. We expected better from these two Giants. But like I said, at least they're there. They did it together. They met, you know. According to Danny, quote, not going to happen. Do you really know them? I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that. Help me out with that. Bands or singers you wish you could have seen and wish you would have, but didn't. For me, Blondie, Talking Heads, and a few others. Number one on my list is probably Fleetwood Mac with Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie together and Stevie Nicks. I had plenty of opportunities, didn't do it. That's number one. Number two is Elton John. And yeah, I'll say Blondie also. Blondie. Those are three that come to mind. They'll probably use AI to make John and Chuck's songs sound great. When they ruin things like that, make it, well, yeah, they probably will, but a live song like that, it has to be what it is, really. Yeah, Mad Men used Tomorrow Never Knows. All four Beatles are credited on Flying. Yeah, they're just going la 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 in the background. It's really nothing. Here in Australia, the equivalent of the American Automobile Association is using a cover version of Help in their advertising. Yeah, I've heard Help used before. Cat Stevens is on my bucket list to see out of everyone possible. Would I see the Stones? Not for the prices last time. I saw the Stones once in Atlantic City in '89 during the Steel Wheels tour, and I thought they stunk. But they've been better since. They were better before then, and they were better since then. So I don't know. I just didn't like it. I feel like we're losing our relationship with the Beatles with a CEO that doesn't care much for us original fans. Well, Elliot, right now, that's what people are feeling. But in all fairness, we haven't really had a chance to really feel engaged. Let's not, stone the guy just yet. We'll know soon enough if he's a dog or not. The last album of CDU and all the commenters here played. All the commenters. Geez, why can't I remember? It wasn't too long ago either, and I can't remember. Neil Diamond, I think a Neil Diamond hit CD. That was one of the last ones that I played. Oh, REM, Green, the album Green by REM. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're talking about Danny. Oh, okay, I get it now. Yeah, Danny, I love Danny, but, he just, hi, Danny, he's probably watching. But I told him this before, but a lot of people can't see by what you've already shown them, If you're a person that doesn't do what you say you're going to do, they naturally believe you're never going to do it. Oh, you say this all the time, you never do it. Then one day you do it, they're like, I saw Elton, Manchester, England, 2004. I got to see McCartney and Ringo. I am blessed. Years ago, I visited Rishikesh. I went to the place where they stayed. It would be nice if you visited it, Joe. That's okay. Thank you. Yes, it's true. John got inspired, shall we say. I say, pinched it. Fleetwood Mac's Albatross. I say he pinched it for the song Sun King. For Don't Let Me Down. John pinched everything. That's why, although John's my favorite, Beatles and physical media has to go hand in hand. I agree. We don't know what Tom Green will do for original fans yet. They haven't put anything out yet since he took the job. Well, there you go. He says it exactly. That's true. That's why I say, let's wait a minute, man. Give him a chance. I'm not holding my breath, but did you ever have or hear the Jackie Lomax album? No, and I don't care for Sour Milk Seas, right? I don't. but it's a shame he just seemed to just vanish after one follow-up album. I saw Elton together with Billy Joel in '98. Billy was more energetic. So what do you say, Tone? Before I stop, you want to come up or no? I'm not going to be offended. We didn't start the fire. Do you know anyone that was at the Elton John concert where John Lennon played? No, I don't. I don't know anybody personally. No. Good evening, Walkman. What's going on? What goes on? I should say what goes on. Okay, Beatley Tone's going to pop up. Beatley Tone, I'm going to send a link for you, okay? Anybody else? Just today we're just going to do me and Tone. That's okay. We're going to do Beatles, Beatle talk. No offense. Or as Archie Bunker would say, no intense offended there. All right. Let me figure out how to do this again because it's been a while. Okay, got it. I always like talking Beatles with Tony when I get a chance, so it's pretty good. All right. Funny seeing the new name pop up there. Mean Mr. Mayo, music in retirement. I love it. I love it. And it's doing well. Doing well so far, I got to say. And by the way, I did a poll. Nobody asked. I thought somebody would ask. But I did a poll, and out of like 170 people, 71% liked change. So, and I'm going to do it anyway. But I just wanted to know. Valentine's Day. Yeah, sure. Uh-oh, didn't even know about the poll until now. Now people can vote now and vote thumbs down. And believe me, I know there's some trolls that'll do that. I don't know. I may change it. We'll see. Hey, I never changed. That's what I said before about, you see, Danny, right? Whenever somebody does something the same way all the time, people naturally figure you're going to do it the same way all the time. You're never going to change. You'll change your name back. You always do. I never changed Mr. Cinemayo back. I did that for it's been a couple of years now. And, who knows? But if I do, I do. I may. You never know the future. It is a good name. Well, it'll bring the retirement people in. That's my hope, that it'll bring in music people, Beatles people, and maybe some retired people that didn't know about it. We'll have everybody. So, what's the weakest song on Rubber Soul? For me, it's What Goes On. That's pretty easy for me. I like what I always got to see. You always have to say this, don't you? I like What Goes On. I just think it's the weakest song. My Valentine is a beautiful song. Great song for Nancy. Paul plays it live. It's also the song that me and Ms. Mayo share. So, what Beatles song is best for Valentine's Day? Anybody? I don't know. P.S. I love you. That popped in my head. There's probably better ones. DJ Trish says hello. Hello, Trish. I agree with this, boy. All in the Family was not as good when Meathead and Gloria moved out of Archie's house. Definitely. The demo version of What Goes On is better than the album version. I don't think so. I don't. I mean, I prefer the released version, but the demo version is certainly very interesting for What Goes On. I'll give you that. Here, there, and everywhere for Valentine's Day. That's a good choice. That's a very good choice. Love by Beck was released for Valentine's Day on red vinyl on Capitol Records. It's a great version. Oh no, Miss Mayo was sick. She's sick, and she stayed home from work today. She's supposed to work. She stayed home the last couple of days. She's in the other room. That's what's happening there. I'm looking through you is the worst, the weakest. Really, I don't agree with that, but I like different opinions. Make them interesting. I wonder if Beatley Tone's all right. You all right, Tone? What are you doing? Place your wig on straight. You got a date if you're going to come up. Though I love it. Oh, I see what you're saying. It's not your favorite. What song from Revolver should they have played on the 66 tour if there was only one song? I think they got it right by doing Paperback Writer. It wasn't on the album, but they played Paperback Writer, and that was, single 66. But I'm really thinking, if they only were going to do one song off there, what would it be? Maybe Taxman. What do you think? Is that doable? I would say "Gotta Get You Into My Life," but that has it has the horns on it and everything. I don't know. I'm thinking Taxman's good. And I Love Her for Valentine's Day. Yep. All My Loving. Now we're talking. All My Love. Good Valentine's song. I'll drink to that. What little bit of water I have left. The thing was, at the time, you couldn't play a lot of those songs live, right? Well, that's what they always said. I'm going with Taxman for the win. I love the spaghetti scene in Magical Mystery Tour. John's face is so funny. Great moment. One of the few good moments in there. Nobody mentions the 2004-2007 indie band, the Grand National, in the VC. Taxman, Dr. Robert, or For No One. Yeah. But you need a French horn for No One, don't you? Taxman for Valentine's Day. Ugh. Ba, 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 ba. Coming close to the 90-minute mark. It's getting dark out there. Long, Long, Long is one of George's best songs. I love the song Long, Long, Long. I think it's underrated. I do like it quite a bit. I think Beatley Tone likes it too, if I'm not mistaken, a lot. Oh, come on. I think you're busting my chops here. What's your favorites? The first one that comes to mind is Help, but I'd have to see a list. If I just say Help, is that the right answer? I like Wait. I like Help. I'm tired of Yesterday. I'm tired of Michelle. I can tell you that. They're great songs, Yesterday and Michelle. I'm just tired of them. I'd rather hear Wait or Help. I'm not that tired of Help. Julia is another great song. I'm trying to think of one word titles. Girl's a good song. It's just never been a personal favorite. Love You Too, another fantastic underrated Beatles song. I agree with that. And Helter Skelter he could play for Valentine's Day. Anna's a good song. It's a cover song. Not that it matters. A good song is a good song. But I do prefer Arthur Alexander's version of it, to tell you the truth. So, honestly. First Beatle album I bought with my own money, Hey Jude. Good one. That's a good one. I think Wait is better for being on Rubber Soul. It was left over from Help. Yeah, we're so used to it being on Rubber Soul. It's hard to imagine that song being on Help. It fits great on Rubber Soul. What is the longest? The continuing story of Bungalow Bill is the first thing that pops in my head. I wonder if that's the answer. Everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey. Everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey. I don't know. John's voice, the early Beatles, was so different from later on. It's strange. What's different? Did Anthony smack you upside the head today? I didn't see Anthony today, but you see in the video, he wanted to give me a little rap. And it's okay. I bust his chops all the time. He busts mine too. You don't know. Anthony busts my chops too, but we don't always have that on camera. Oh, he's a wise guy. As soon as I met him at the diner, when the camera was off, he started throwing some zingers my way. But you don't know that. We got Beatley Tone here, so I'm glad he's here. Let's show him some hospitality. Hello, Tone.
Hey, Joe. You all right?
Oh, why does it look different where you are?
Because I'm not in my studio. I've had some damp work done in there, and so I've had to move everything into the kitchen. But it's all done now, so I'm moving back tomorrow. But
okay, now
because I'm not using my normal mic.
I can hear you. You're a little lower than usual, but I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know though, those framed pictures that you have up there, are they always there, or did you put them up special for this? For when you shoot footage, you always have those pictures up?
The white.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. These, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see now. John's voice was rougher and younger. That's true. It's funny how he doesn't sound the same on the rock and roll album as he did when he was with the early beat. What do you think about that, Tone? John's voice.
Yeah, I guess by the time he did rock and roll, he maybe lost a little bit of that enthusiasm that he had in the early days when they were doing covers.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought his voice is still good on that, I think.
Yeah, Boney Maroney. Sounds good on Boney Maroney. Slipping and sliding.
Yeah. Stand By Me. Fantastic vocal on Stand By Me.
Yeah. How do you like John's voice with The Cold on the Please Please Me album? You ever notice it? I noticed. Well, the thing is, other than on Anna, his voice sounds different to me on Anna. Like you can hear the cold.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like John on Anna.
Yeah. And of course, a happy mistake in a way. Well, mistake. A happy coincidence that we got a great performance for Twist and Shout because he had the problems with his throat.
Yeah. That's a great vocal.
Yeah, I did say that, right? Joe was just about to say that. Anna is a cover. Arthur Alexander is the original singer and way better. I think so. What do you think, Tone?
I don't know that version. I don't know the original version. I only know the Beatles version.
Alrighty. There you go. Martin saying hello.
Hi, Martin.
The Paul McCartney 12-inch single of Temporary Secretary was once a good find in the UK. Thanks.
Yeah. Bought that the day it came out. I think they deleted it on the same day.
Oh, I'm glad I finally got a hold of it with the sleeve.
Yeah.
I Will, or Here, There, and Everywhere for a Beatles Valentine's Day song. There you go. That's a couple of choices for a Valentine's Beatles song.
Here, There, and Everywhere.
Yeah, that fits. You don't want to pick Run for Your Life? You don't think Run for Your Life is a good Valentine's song? No? Me either. Me either. That's a good, I don't know what kind of song that is. Did you know that Girl was pressed as a single for the Love Songs album was canceled? Now, was that true or was that like a bootleg thing? I heard it was. I have a copy of it on yellow vinyl.
I think I've heard that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do have it, but I don't know if it's legit. Bring It On Home to Me with Klaus on vocals. Klaus on vocals. Did I miss something? Does Klaus sing with him on that?
What's that? On the album?
I wonder about that. Listening to it in my head now, it seems like somebody sings with him at one point in my mind. Okay, Sgt. Pepper was the last album that felt like the Beatles were going places. The rest were great, but they lost momentum. Then again, so did the 60s. By 68, the decade lost direction.
I thought they made their best two albums after Sgt. Pepper.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about it real time anyway. You and I came along after with that, but
yeah,
I wonder.
It's different when we look at things retrospectively, I suppose.
If I had been older in the 60s and if I'm anything then that in that scenario the way I am now, I probably would get out of here with those mustaches and beards and the crazy Strawberry Fields stuff. I probably would have been like, oh man, what happened?
Yeah, it's really hard to put yourself in the positions of fans in 1967 about how big the impact was of Sgt. Pepper, because we've come to it much later, and it's just difficult to understand how important or what an impact that album had when it first came out. If you were, I don't know, a teenager or whatever in '67.
Okay, Amaka has semi-apologized for the lyrics of Temporary Secretary. What is this about? Right?
Go on my knee, that sort of thing.
Oh, come on, don't get me started on this. Don't get me started. This stuff,
I still like Run for Your Life.
Yeah, me too. It's Yellow Submarine I want to talk to you about one of these days, buddy. One of these days. Not that my throat's bothering me a little too much to get into it. But you like We All Stand Together, though, now better, at least.
Yeah, I do. Have you seen that show?
Yeah, I bounced around it. I didn't want to watch a whole show on that, but I watched some because I still don't care for that song too much. But it's not the worst thing I've ever heard that he did.
No, the arrangement's amazing when you listen to it properly and try and get it out of your head that it's a kiddie song. The stuff that George Martin did for that song was amazing.
Yeah, I'll give you that. John sang beautiful on the Please Please Me album. I don't know, it did what it had to do. I love Temporary Secretary. Oh, so do I. But
and me.
There you go. The White Album and Abbey Road are both better than Sgt. Pepper. Depends on my mood. I'll take that. These days, I'll agree with you. Beatley Tone looks like he's where you go on Sundays, where your wife works there. And I guess what? I'm stuck going there tomorrow, even though she's got a cold. We're going.
I'm just in my kitchen. I'm still in the house, but just in the kitchen.
Yeah. Well,
studio is outside. It's outside. It's like a garden room, so it's outside the house.
Oh, okay.
And I had a bit of damp across two walls, and I had to have it treated. So everything had to come out, and had to be treated and then replastered. The walls had to be replastered. Made such a mess.
I hear you. Never understand why John hated It's Only Love, one of my favorite all-time Beatles songs. Well, he said the lyrics. He didn't like the lyrics on it. I agree. The lyrics are kind of silly in a way, but I love the song.
Yeah, me too. I really like it as well.
I really love it. Klaus Vorman sang with John on that track, Bring It On Home to Me. Now that I never knew that.
Nor did I.
And that just goes to show you can always learn new things.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah. I mean, do you find that too, Tone? Because I do, between the comments and things, like I never knew that. There's a lyric that I never knew from the song "Love You Too." I never knew that the line that George sang was "Love me while you can before I'm a dead old man." I never knew that was
Oh, did
the
you?
word.
Yeah, I mean, I find it all the time when I'm doing videos or doing like research to do a video. You know, I'm finding out things all the time. I know so much more now that I've got a channel than I did before.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but there's always stuff. There's always stuff. Even though you think you know most of it or all of it, there's always stuff you can pick up.
Yeah.
Well, Tone, do you listen much to the Deco edition tape?
Not really. Not really.
Me neither. Every now and then I'll give it a spin.
Yeah.
You know, but not. You know, I'm not wild about it.
One I've got's called the Complete Silver Beatles. Have you got that, Joe? Or did
Yeah.
you have a different one in America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it at so many places. So many places. You know. If you had a girlfriend or wife with the name Michelle, that would be a good Valentine's song. Sure. Sure.
Or Polythene Pam.
Yeah, right. Why was Girl put on the Red Album? It was never a hit. Well, it's not a hits album, the Red Album.
Yeah.
Blue Album.
There's lots of key album tracks that are on that. While Got My Guitar Gently Weeps, you know, is on there. Back in the USSR, that wasn't a hit at the time.
Penny Lane is in my top 10 probably Beatles songs. Yeah.
But it's in your ears and in your eyes.
I think Tom Hunyadi's is a #1 song, I think.
Oh,
He said. There you go. It's Elliot Ween. Elliot, please.
Yeah. I know. You always say it's Elliot from New York. And I know it's you.
We know it's you, but why don't you put is it because you really want Appleman to be your name? Because put Elliot Ween in there. Put Elliot Ween Appleman. Then
yeah.
The cover is real, the vinyl isn't. I can lose track of what we're talking about sometimes. Oh, from the single.
Ah, okay.
The Girl from the Love Songs album. Yeah, okay. Would you rather listen to We All Stand Together or Black Leather? Now, what are we talking about? I want to know because for me, Joan Jett has a song that I despise, a rap song called Black Leather. I don't know if that's what you're doing. But the Runaways with Joan Jett's band has a song Black Leather that I love. So I love the Runaways. If that's what you're talking about, but I'd like to know. So I don't know. I'll give you that. If you're talking about the Joan Jett rap song, I'll go with
Joan Jett rap. It's later in the comments. It's the Joan Jett rap he's talking about.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, I'll listen to We All Stand Together 10 times over before I listen to that. So forget that. Yeah, I get slow. I gotta like move with the comments. Not what was best album, but the feel of the album. The verve, the momentum, the drive. Well, I kind of get the idea that they weren't doing anything odd or like with the White Album, it was more normal. He wasn't so like all over the place with effects and things. I wouldn't rant if McCartney 4 was announced, but I don't want there to be a McCartney 4. I like the idea of a trilogy. A career-spanning trilogy, personally. I think it's a perfect way that he did it.
I think he'll come up with a new title for the new album.
I hope so. That was just the girls. Okay, gotcha. With some of Danny's past comments, he might pick Why Don't We Do It in the Road for Valentine's Day song. All right, let's see. Beatles All Night Long. I do like the Anthology 2 version of It's Only Love quite a bit. I like a lot of those outtakes. Paul sent out a text to wish his fans happy Valentine's Day with a picture of him and Nancy. Yeah. Richard Dolan, if you're watching out there, Richard Dolan, happy Valentine's Day to you. I know, I'm just teasing him because a lot of times he said, "Don't wait. How dare you wish people a happy Valentine's Day 1 year? What about people who don't have anybody?" Richard, please, I don't mean anything by it. I had the honor of visiting Klaus Warman last December. He signed my new anthology CD box set and old vinyl editions, and we talked about bringing it on home to me. Thank you for that information.
That's very cool.
Yeah, he's everybody loves Klaus. I met him myself. What a great guy. He's one of those guys that everybody likes.
Yeah, he's a very likable bloke, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Top of the curve. Would you like another 9 hours of film from the Get Back, Let It Be sessions? Why not? I'll take it.
I wanted more after we watched it all.
Yeah.
It wasn't boring at all. It was like, I want more of this. Apparently, there's an 18-hour director's cut. I don't know if we'll ever see that. But
I don't know. He said he's a lot more, but he wants Jackson. Sheik of Araby is brilliant. I don't know. I don't know if that's one of my favorite ones.
I like it. Isn't it funny on the Decca audition that they did that there was so many songs where George was the lead singer?
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's an audition and he's like the third best singer in this band. And he gets so many lead vocals. It's a really surprising decision, I think.
Well, not only that, but I think a lot of people tend to say, and I tend to agree, see what you think, that George is the main one who showed up that day. Like he was at top form more than the others that day. Would you agree? I thought he was.
Yeah, maybe he was like less nervous than the others. I don't know.
Something like that. And it's hard to believe because he strikes me as kind of nervous a lot of times.
Yeah.
Paul was nervous, I think, and I felt like he hadn't found his voice quite right yet.
Yeah.
Original Red album had too many songs from Rubber Soul, not enough from Revolver. Good that they corrected that. Okay. Penny Lane is my number one. Here Comes the Sun, number 2. After that, I love most of them pretty equally. Lady Madonna, Hello Goodbye, maybe Nowhere Man are not in my top 100 Beatles songs. Okay. So they're in the lower ones. Lady Madonna's not in mine, I'll tell you that. I don't know why. I'm tired of that song. Some songs I'm more tired of than others. But, is any Beatles cover version better than? I think quite a few are myself. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, definitely Twist and Shout. Definitely.
I agree.
I really like You Really Got a Hold of Me as well.
That's on par with it for me. I think it's equal. I think the song Words of Love blows Buddy Holly's away. I love Buddy Holly, but I think the Beatles' Words of Love with those harmonies are really good.
Please, Mr. Postman is really great as well.
Yeah.
Locally.
Yeah. Got me thinking of all these now. Hey, Andy, are you listening? How about rock and roll music? Andy?
He doesn't like rock and roll music, does he?
No.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Brooklyn Academy of Music Plastic Ono band show with all those people. I just said all those people. I don't have to say too much. Man. Is Paul still on good terms with his second wife? I don't think he ever was.
He wasn't when he was married to her, was he?
That's his wife, Heathen. Oh, man. Joe Walsh owns the original Klaus artwork from Revolver.
Does he? Okay.
What would be my number 3 song? Nowhere Man, Something, Getting Better, 8 Days a Week. Really hard to give a top 10. It is hard. I did a video once where I attempted a top 10, I think it was. Did you ever try that, Tone, even though it's impossible?
No, I have. It's funny you should say that because I was kind of thinking about, videos that I might make. And I was thinking about ranking like over a series of videos sort of thing, ranking every song in order. But I'm thinking it's probably too difficult. It's probably too difficult. But no, I haven't done a ranking of Beatles songs. No.
Well, Larry Graves, Canadian Stud Muffin, did that once. He ranked every song.
Did he?
And the problem I would have is like, what's the difference between a number 97 and a number 98?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that might be a little hard when there's that many songs to rank. Yeah, I love the Black Leather by the Runaways, Sex Pistols. Yeah. I do like Three Cool Cats. That's fun. I like a lot of what they did on the Deco, song wise, performance wise.
I wouldn't say it was the best Beatles song ever, though.
Three Cool Chicks. I thought Penny Lane was a girl. I used to think that too when I was a kid. I thought it was Penny. Yeah. That's what I thought as a kid. It would be good if you could see all 5 Beatles films on the big screen in one day. Look, I'd be just happy to see Help on the big screen, regardless of just by itself. But Hard Day's Night and Help would be an amazing double feature if they could pull it off somehow.
Yeah,
I've seen A Hard Day's Night many times in the theater.
In America? Did you used to have a thing called Saturday morning cinema, where you'd go to the cinema in the morning about 10 o'clock and you'd be in there till about midday, and it would be like they'd show all cartoons. First of all, Bugs Bunny and all that sort of that stuff, and then there'd be an interval, and then you'd have like a main feature film, which would be a kid-friendly film. After the interview, and that's the first time that I saw Help was at Saturday Morning Pictures.
Great.
When I was young, didn't
know
who the Beatles were at that time.
No. Well, they had that stuff too, definitely. I don't know if I went to my share of movies, but I think that whole thing when they were doing that, I didn't really see those presentations, but they did them. Let's see what this is. I'm sure I sound like a broken record, but I'm starving for Rubber Soul. Oh no, Super Deluxe, London Town, and Back to the Egg. I needed to say it. I've always been optimistic, Tone, that we're still going to get the Two Wings archives. Do you still feel like that, or you giving up?
No, I've never lost the faith that they would return to it. And I heard that the reason why they took a break from the archives was because the research team have been working on Man on the Run for the last 2 or 3 years, and that's why. So now that's done, hopefully they come back and do, archives, carry on with the archives. We'll see. But it's interesting that they've got an outtake from Back to the Egg, Arrow Through Me on the soundtrack. That's interesting.
Yes.
And that maybe gives us a little bit of a clue that they've been looking at that material.
Yeah, and I'm still hopeful and almost positive in my mind that we're going to get a Rubber Soul, but sometimes I wonder lately, with Rubber Soul, and also considering that we got so many of the tracks on the Red album, I really wonder now with that, but I'm still thinking we're going to get it.
I think we'll get it this year, but it'll be interesting to see what we do get if we don't get that, because that'll give us an idea of what the direction is. But I'm pretty sure it will be. But I don't think there's going to be much in the way of outtakes for that. So
Yeah, I know you did a video on that. You did a video looking at stuff.
They're going to have to rethink how they present it, but I'm sure we'll
I get through this all the time. My feeling on it again is, I talk about this a lot. Now, without looking at, I haven't consulted like the Mark Lewison book or anything to really read about it. But a while ago, I never would have thought there would be a Yellow Submarine demo with John singing it. I never would have thought we'd get I Need You outtake. Just trying to think of some Boys outtake. Not Boys, Matchbox outtake. And so forth and so forth. So, I mean, I don't know. Who's to say that I'm not a second time in there? Or maybe I don't know. If I read the literature, maybe I'd find out they only did one take or something,
Yeah.
I never read it.
I think demos like the Yellow Submarine one is a different kettle of fish, because that's not something that would be in the archives at Abbey Road. That would be, one of the Beatles, like Yellow Submarine, John on a cassette, messing about and putting down a demo. That would be in his possession, or in possession, the other Beatles, whoever wrote the song. So that we were lucky that Sean found that demo and let them use it for that box set. But that wouldn't have been in Abbey Road. That would have been in John's personal collection, which is now
gotcha.
obviously Sean's.
Well, you've always been a champion that you wouldn't mind if they doubled them up, if they put like Help and Rubber Soul and so on, put them together.
Yeah.
A Hard Day's Night, and Beatles for Sale, etc.
Yeah, because I want the series done. It's if they just do one a year, and then you've got the prospect of other projects coming in between to slow down the flow of them. Who knows when they'll finish it? You know what I mean? None of us.
Well, I'm sorry. I've always said that I personally want every album. I think every album. This is the Beatles we're talking about. Deserves its own box. But I'm to the point now where I'm like, if you got to double them up, I'm fine with that. But still, it gets me because I joke around all the time with Tom and some other people when they say, "Well, will it really sell? Do you think it's going to sell?" I'm like, "This is the Beatles we're talking about. They may not do as much as, I don't know who's big today. I don't know. I don't even know who's big anymore today. Post Malone or something. Taylor Swift, obviously. But they don't have to. It gets me because I always joke around with Tom. I send him a picture from my record store. Anytime I see a box set, and it could be a little box or a long box of the Bobby Fuller 4 or something, or I'm trying to think of, the Trogs or I'm like, if they can have a box, even a little box, surely, Help warrants a box. And even if it's only that they remaster, whatever the album, and then put whatever they have that they could find that they want to put out for outtakes, even if it's few, maybe a 2 CD set instead of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people would still like the remix of stereo remix of the main album. A lot of people would still like the mono album to be included because some people have got the mono box, but a lot of people haven't. So I think people would still like the mono to be included in that.
Yeah,
a nice book. You've got all the associated singles and stuff as well. For Rubber Soul, it would be Day Tripper, and We Can Work It Out as a single to be included. That's enough. It doesn't have to be 5 LPs or 5 CDs or whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You made a good point. You put the mono out, you put the stereo out, you put whatever associated singles maybe go with it. Whatever you could find studio-wise that you want to put out, maybe a few outtakes, a couple of songs here, whatever you have, and you do that. And a book, you can. I mean, what's so bad about that?
That's all right. You keep the cost down, and people will be even more happy, I would have thought. Because a lot of people say, "Well, I never play the outtake." Why? I listen to them when it comes out, but then I never listen.
Yeah, I know. Nobody's ever satisfied, And when that Rubber Soul, if the Rubber Soul comes out, then it's after all this bitching, it's going to come out. Nobody's going to talk about it except us, But
yeah,
couple
it'll be why isn't this on it and why isn't that on it? And
yeah, sure.
I don't like the reason for this.
Where do you stand with Red Rose Speedway?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's personally. If you go from the bottom as far as Wings albums go, for me it goes Wildlife at the bottom, then Back to the Egg, then Red Rose Speedway. But I still like it. I like all those albums. But if you were ranking them, Red Rose Speedway is nearer the bottom for me of the Wings albums anyway.
Yeah, Red Rose Speedway's always been near the bottom for me. Back to the Egg, closer to the top, for me. But I say the top, within the top 6, 7, something like that. But hopefully that thing comes out and then people start having a new appreciation, which has happened for some of the other ones when they put the archives out. New appreciation for some, maybe. But anyway, I've never been a big fan of it. I think I like the double album that would have been maybe better for some reason.
Yeah, I agree.
Should George have been afforded more songs on each album? I don't know. I guess later on.
It's really difficult when you've got such great songwriters as John and Paul in the band. But when you think of some of the songs that that came out on All Things Must Pass, some of those had been turned down by the Beatles in the early years. I think Art of Dying, went back to 1966 or something like that. He brought that in, and it's a great song.
Hello, Harry. My favorite Penny Lane, the promo issue with the extra horn at the end. I've never enjoyed the horn at the end. I like it as a curiosity, but I prefer it the other way, without it. Maybe because I'm used to it so much.
Yeah, I think so.
Nowhere Man's one of my favorites ever since I first heard it in Yellow Submarine. Well, that I was talking earlier. That's one that I had. I had the American single of Nowhere Man when I was like 4. I still remember the picture sleeve having it. That's one of the records I did have. Let's see. All their covers are better. I think most of them are better or just as good, but most of them. Like Bad Boy, yeah, that's pretty damn good. I gotta move a little faster. I'm sorry. Hello, what's going on, Kenny? What's going on? Only sleeping.
Hey, only sleeping. 9834. 8934.
Yes, it is, and I'm down. Better than some of the songs on the Help album.
Yeah, I agree,
I would agree with that. Honey Don't better than the original Carl Perkins song. Yeah. Yep. I watched Hands Across the Water yesterday. Great show, Tony.
Oh, thanks for watching. Yeah, it was an enjoyable one to do, I think, that one.
And they also did a show about Beatles for Sale getting overlooked. So, Hands Across the Water.
Yeah, that's what we did. That was this week's episode.
I don't know. I don't much like rock and roll music, but it's a million times better than the monstrosity the Beach Boys did. I agree. I hate that Beach Boys version. But would love to see a standalone Decca tape CD released on Capitol that includes everything. Would Love Me Do with Pete Best as a bonus track. Well, I wouldn't mind them doing a real proper Decca tapes. Why not? Whatever they can do proper and get the speed right. Sometimes the speed is not right on some of them. All right. Top 10 Beatles is impossible. I love that I say Lavatory Lil now instead of lavatory. Lavatory Lil. Yeah, that's a fun song, I think. That means a lot. I still say to me, I understand why they didn't release it. It just
Yeah,
not
me
because
too.
of not because of the S word. I mean, because I just mean to me it was never perfected enough, and it was a little awkward sounding. What do you the structure of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it? It's not great. I
I
mean,
don't think
it's
so.
it was interesting to hear it because I didn't really know
Oh
it
yeah,
before Anthology. But yeah, it's not great.
I
I
mean,
get why it was left out.
yeah, I love hearing it. She came in through the bathroom window. I like that now. I mean, I used to when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I didn't like Joe Cocker at all doing with a little help from my friends either. But now I like them. Yeah, yeah. They used to show Magical Mystery Tour in the midnight movies. I saw Help for the first time in the late '80s VHS. I love the movie. Saw Help '73, Dialing for Dollars afternoon at Channel 11. Let's see. Did releasing Ballad of John and Yoko so soon after Get Back hurt the sales? It became
Uh,
#1.
yeah, it got to #1, so no, I guess.
Please, Apple, remix Rubber Soul and with the mono version and the American stereo version. You know, as much as I, grew up with and like the U.S. version of Rubber Soul, I'm not one of the people I think they'd have to bother like putting that in there in a Rubber Soul set. But to flesh it out a little, maybe I don't know.
Well, it's an interesting listen, definitely.
Yeah, again, it really so much depends on what you're used to because I didn't know when I was young that there was another version of it in UK, and those songs that are on it to me are so implanted in my brain there that I still can't hear it that way when I listen to Help. Those songs they just seem so out of place because I'm used to it. That's all, and vice versa. I would imagine for people in the UK.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Uh,
very good.
Oh, they made a double feature. I think I might have seen Help in the village, New York City, in the Village in the '90s. Why I don't remember it that clear, I don't know. Oh yeah, I like Paul. You like this too, Venus and Mars Tone, don't you?
Yeah, it's my favorite Paul
Yeah, that's up
albums.
there for me. That's in my top. I don't know, man. It changes all the time. My top three, probably number three for me right now. The Beatles Box of Vision. I had that and then I sold it. Sorry, I'm getting rid of some stuff. Not everything, but some stuff. I don't need all that stuff anymore just to show. Hey, look what I got. Isn't that nice? Yeah, and then I don't do nothing with it anymore for the rest of my life. Yeah, but I'm still buying things. I'm looking around here. I'm still gonna buy some stupid things. That's what my show is about. Collectors Anonymous, which I still got to do. That's another one. Tony, I'd like to maybe have you on there sometime in the future. Collectors Anonymous, like Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Uh, I saw Wings Back to the Egg today with the polythene inner sleeve intact. Clean item. Yeah, I see those a lot. See, but my neck of the woods, I see that stuff all the time. It's I'm very spoiled that way. It's over 2 hours. I go a little longer. I'm okay with original copies like that too. Like I didn't buy all the new Capitals and some of those things. I'm just okay with the original. But Tone, you said that when you listened to some of the Capitals for the first time, you actually had some kind of appreciation for a few of them, didn't you? A couple of them.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed them because I'd never heard them that way with with that those mixes and with the Dave Dexter sort of reverb and all that sort of thing, and hearing hearing the album. I know these days you know you can make playlists and put whatever you want in whatever order, but I still like the, you know, putting a record on and listening to a side and then turning it over, playing the whole thing, you know, in one go rather than a playlist. And it's just interesting. It's an interesting set list hearing it that way. And you know, people need to appreciate over here. People need to appreciate that those American albums play a massive, massive part in the Beatles story, because they would never have been the band that they were, the size that they were, without the support of the, you know, American audiences. And those were the records that they grew up with.
Yeah, to them, for Americans, if you grew up then, it's every bit as much of your background and you know your upbringing and you know your landscape of youth as it would be in England for them. You know, it's embedded in your being. And I love Not a Second Time. I love that song, man, personally.
Yeah, me too.
And well, I'd like to hear another vocal on that. Oh, if it exists, I'd like to hear another run through of Not a Second Time. Anyway, I'm trying to catch up. Let's see. Picture disc. Back to the 8 picture disc. The only thing I don't like is when Paul makes decisions based on his memory of how something went down for the critics or the fans at the time. If people didn't love Back to the Egg, it's out of his head, you know. If he doesn't love Press to Play, he puts it out of his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. Weird production. How are you in the minority? I think I'm in the minority liking Back to the Egg as much as I do. I don't know. But Tim Allen is with me on that one. The Wings collection, we're getting teasers. Well, there's still that point, right? That when the Japanese CDs came out, they did not have London Town or Back to the Egg.
No, because they haven't been remastered yet. Or they haven't, you know, because all the ones that came out on the Japanese SHM CDs were all remastered, so they skipped over all the ones that they haven't done an archive for.
Yeah, I mean, I love false start, studio banter, all that stuff. I love it. I just that's my favorite stuff to have more than live tracks. By the way, you could get into that too. You could say, well, if there's not enough studio stuff, you could put some corresponding live stuff in there too. You know, there's lots.
Yeah, because with the box sets that they've got left to do, apart from obviously they haven't done Magical Mystery Tour or Yellow Submarine, but we're talking about Rubber Soul, Back to Please Please Me. These are the touring years, so there could be some live versions. You know, I don't think they should put whole live shows on these box sets, but you know, with Rubber Soul they could put some live versions of the Rubber Soul songs in there to make it consistent.
I'm just like flashing a few because I really should get going soon anyway. Why didn't they add Free as a Bird and Real Love EPs to the anthology reissue? Maybe they'll issue a box set with the 3 songs for Record Store Day. Have you made up your mind if you're going to get the Dark Horse? I know you were looking at the Dark Horse Zoetrope thing. And extra.
No, this you know, so I'll probably go to Record Store Day because there's a few things by other artists that I'm quite interested in. If the Zoetropes are in there, I might get tempted, but I'm not that bothered about it, to be honest. I didn't buy All Things Must Pass or Living in the Material World Zoetropes.
Yeah.
So it's not like I've got a collection to keep going or anything.
And they're going to try to do all of them, I think, right?
Yeah, that's what they
all
said.
The George There you go. Good alternate takes of Norwegian Wood.
Yeah, there's about 2 or 3, but they're not much different. to the ones that we've already had take one, and it's the others are not that different. I think take two has got much more sitar in it, but you know, they didn't do many takes for any of the songs on Rubber Soul.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I would say. I have no problem to keep everything nice where it belongs and official in its place. To repeat everything, put "I'm Looking Through You" on it. Put take one of "This Bird Has Flown" on it, and then you're going to hear those people complain, Tone, aren't you? We had these already. What are they giving? If you're going to do a Rubber Soul set, put stuff on. You know, if you do a Help set, put "It's Only Love" on again and you've got to hide both of them.
I think they will do that. You know, they've always put a few things that came out on Anthology on the previous box sets. You know, the ones that have already come out. They've had tracks from Anthology, so they do repeat, because every time they put something out, you know, they're hoping for a new audience that doesn't have these things. So, you know, that's how it works.
I'm sorry if I'm passing a lot of comments where there's just like statements being made where, you know, but like looking for questions and things like, I don't think I ever heard a demo or anything of "It's For You." Have you?
No, I don't think so.
And I've never been keen on that song anyway. But I still would like to have it if they did one, but I never heard one. Best surprise in a Paul concert when he started doing "Come and Get It." Well, I was surprised the first time I ever heard him say "This is for the Wings fans," and he did "Too Many People." I didn't know going in there that he was going to do that. I hadn't heard it, and you know, I didn't know before, so that was the biggest surprise I got.
Biggest surprise I got was at Hyde Park 2010, which I think was a one-off gig for that year. He opened up with Venus and Mars Rock Show, which I wasn't expecting at all. That was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so who broke the Beatles or broke up the Beatles, John or Paul? Paul announced it publicly, but today says it's John, who only announced it privately. I don't know. It could go either way. That's my answer. I mean, how you want to look at it.
Yeah,
John, in a way.
I think John was the first to say that he was leaving, but you know, what difference does it make?
Yeah, and then there was that whole thing though where they were right. And then John supposedly said, "Well, we could probably still make albums." That meeting that they had about when Ringo wasn't there, they were recording it for Ringo. That meeting. Jeez, train.
Oh.
Yes, we have a soft spot for the U.S. albums. Well, like I said, I did the thing where I grew up with them, didn't know any different. Then when I was about 16, 17, I started acquiring all the imports from the UK. Then I was like a snob about it. I'm like, the Beatles' second album, no such album. Yesterday and Today, no, doesn't exist. This is the way they wanted it. And I did that for many years. Then the CDs came out. And then in recent years, last decade or more, I'm like, no, I enjoy them. I'm going to go back. If I want to listen to the Beatles, I'll put on Beatles 6. I'll put on, a lot of times I'll do that. I'll just do it. And I'll put on something new. That's just what I do now. Oh, man, I so many things to comment on, but I'll go to like 2.5 hours maybe. Drums, no guitar lick, just help out of the blue. Collectors Anonymous, I have stuff marked Occupy Japan. My people will do well. There's a Back to the Egg fan. Yeah, you ever hear that? That's something they can put on, but it's kind of dull, but it's interesting. Think for yourself outtake. It goes on for a long time. Getting the vocals right. God, Elliot, you make me tired with all this stuff, man. I don't care about this stuff. But anybody else that's reading it that wants to know, because it's on Dark Horse, make sure. Well, thank you, Johnny. We'll have you up again. I even bought the 3-inch records and turntable. Yeah. There you go. That's it. That's what it was all about. Yeah. Well, based on what? Based on the fact that he did it the last couple of times, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to do it again. I hope he doesn't do it, because I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be getting rid. I mean it. I'm going to be selling off my McCartney colored vinyl of the regular standard albums. I'm getting rid of those. I don't buy the half-speed masters. I had a few. I sold them. I mean, I don't have to have every little thing anymore. And it's not so much about money either or anything. It's, I don't know, but I still will buy things here and there. The only reason I bought Ringo Choose Love, as I keep saying, is because I want to have every solo album official vinyl release. I didn't buy Stop and Smell the Roses with the liquid vinyl in it, for example, because I got that already on a vinyl release. Okay, James Byers, thank you all. Very good, very good, very good.
Thank you.
I also bought the liquid filled Stop and Smell the Roses, which is a very good album. I do think it's a good album. It's one of my favorite Ringo albums, actually, for me. And it's nostalgia for me too, of the period of my life and everything. But I have enough of that. I really do.
Yeah. I didn't buy it. I'm scared of putting anything that's got liquid in it on my turntable.
Yeah, right. That's all you need. Fun. You mean They Said Our Love Was Just Fun? That song? I guess. Well, we ran out of comments for the moment. That's a good time maybe to say, okay, let's nip it in the not the bud. The bud has already sprouted a while. But anyway, Tone, it's always a pleasure to touch base with you anytime.
Thanks for having me on. It's been fun.
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to go now. We'll do it again. We'll be back, other times. And don't forget Tony's Tone's Beatles channel. And also Hands Across the Water is another one you should have to check out. Anything else that I'm forgetting? Oh, the trivia.
The Beatle board.
The Beatle board.
We're recording a new episode this week, Monday.
Yeah. Look out for that trivia show, If I had it to do over again, I would have waited for a few contestants and then did it. But I was the first guinea pig. But I had fun.
You had an unfair disadvantage, I think, because you didn't know what to expect. We didn't really know what we were doing. But it was a good test. But yeah, we'll have you on again.
It was a blast. I loved it. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Tone. Talk soon.
Cheers, everybody.